Good afternoon, children. Now we are going to see the next sense organ, that is the ear. Alright. So we already, when we wrote at that table in the first, we said that the ear has got what receptors? Auditory receptors. Alright. What do they have? Auditory receptors. These auditory receptors are responsible for hearing. So we know ear is having twofold function. Twofold means two functions. One is hearing, another is maintaining equilibrium of the body or body balance. Alright. So we have twofold function. One is hearing, another is called body balance. So these are the two functions of the ear. So ear is having twofold function. One is hearing, second is body balance. So it is responsible for hearing. It is also responsible for maintaining the body balance. Alright. Now we have to see, for convenience, this ear is divided into three parts. Alright. So it is called the outer ear or the external ear, the middle ear and the internal or the inner ear. So what is it called? External or outer ear, middle ear, internal, or it is called the inner ear. So it is having three sections. Ear is divided into three sections: external ear, middle ear as well as internal ear. Alright. So now let us see what are the parts in turn of each these. That is the three parts. Alright. So we said it is having external, it is having middle, it's also having internal. So now let us see what are the parts concerned with the external or the outer ear. Now this is the outer ear or the external ear. You can see this picture. This is already there in the text. So now this consists of the pinna. Pinna is your earlobe. Now you have two earlobes. This is called your pinna. It is called pinna or it is called the earlobe. So you can see the spelling P-I-N-N-A. Pinna or it is called the earlobe. Now next is, what is the function of this pinna? This is for collection of sound waves. Alright. So it collects the sound waves and directs it inwards. That is a function of the pinna. So pinna collects the sound waves and directs it into into the ears. That is a function. So you have seen elephants and all that. You have seen they're having a big ear, and that ear is also, and you see it moving, shaking. That is to let they are collecting the sound waves and letting it into the ears. So that is a pinna, or it is called what? It's called the external ear. That is a part of the outer ear. So it's called pinna or it is called the earlobe. Then from the pinna it leads to a canal. It is just leading to a canal. That canal is called auditory canal or it is called ear canal. What is it called? Auditory canal or it is called ear canal. What is it leading to the tube called? Auditory or it is called the ear canal. Now this auditory canal or the ear canal, it has got wax producing glands. So here we are having the wax producing glands. So the wax producing glands are called cermunous glands. So what are they called? They are called cermunous. C-E-R-U-M-I-N-O-U-S. So the wax producing glands are called, what are they called? Cermunous glands. So they are producing wax. So you know in your ears you have the wax, isn't it? So this wax, what does it do? It is just preventing the entry of dust as well as the germs into your ears. Sometimes you have seen insects. Now while you lie, insects may fall in, isn't it? So that is all, it will be entangled in this wax. So that is a function of the wax produced by the cermunous glands. So we have the cermunous glands here. And also it keeps the ear canal moist. Alright. So what is also its function? To keep the ear canal moist. So that is the wax producing glands which is in the auditory canal. So the sound from the pinna is directed towards the auditory canal. Then it comes to another membrane that's called tympanum. It's called tympanum. T T-Y-M-P-A-N-U-M. That is a delicate membrane. That's called a eardrum. Alright. So what is tympanum called? It's called the eardrum. So this is a very delicate membrane. It's very thin and there should be no damage to this. If at all any damage occurs, it may lead to deafness. So that is why we are not allowed to put any sharp objects into the ears to remove the wax. Alright. Because by mistake, suppose it goes and pierces, what will happen? Your tympanum or your eardrum will be damaged. Once it is damaged, it's a permanent deafness. So you cannot correct it. And it's a very delicate membrane. Delicate means very thin. Just like a tracing paper. You have seen tracing papers and all that. So that is a thickness of a eardrum or of a tympanum. So now what happens is the sound waves comes and strikes. A vibration is felt in the eardrum or it strikes the eardrum. So these are the three sections of the outer ear or it is called external ear. So the first is a pinna or earlobe. Then it leads to the auditory canal or ear canal, and at the end of the auditory canal, here's a eardrum or it is called tympanum. What is it called? Eardrum or tympanum. So a damage to it will lead to permanent deafness. So that is why we have to be very careful and not putting sharp objects into the ears to remove wax, or when sometimes what happens inside, you will have some tickling feeling. So at that time, you should only put buds in order to remove wax. So it should not be, this should be very careful because it's a very delicate membrane. Now how this eardrum is placed is, it's not placed in the same level of the auditory canal. It's slightly obliquely placed. Obliquely means slightly in the slanting position. So how is it placed? Obliquely placed. Obliquely means slanting. O-B-L-I-Q-U-E-L-Y. Obliquely means what? It is placed slanting. Why it is placed slanting? Because direct damage should not occur. Alright. So that is why it is just for protection. It is just kept in a slanting position. That is why it's called obliquely placed. So the eardrum is placed obliquely. O-B-L-I-Q-U-E-L-Y. That is why we call it as obliquely placed. Alright. So these are the three sections of the outer ear or the external ear. What are they? It is a pinna, auditory canal as well as a tympanum, or call it as a eardrum. Now the next is the middle ear. Alright. We are coming to the next section. Middle ear. Middle ear is having three sets of bones. Alright. Three types of bones. They are called ear ossicles. What are they called? Ear ossicles. So ear ossicles are nothing but ear bones. How many bones we have? 3 ear bones are there. So it is called malleus, it is called incus, it is called stapes. Alright. So this is called malleus, this is called incus, this is called stapes. Now this malleus you saw, it is the shape of a hammer. See, you can see a head. You have seen hammer. So that is why malleus is called hammer shaped bone. So what is malleus called? Hammer shaped bone. Then you saw this anvil. That is the incus. See, you can see one edge is actually what? Sharp. So that is why it is called anvil shaped. A-N-V-I-L. So what is it? A-N-V-I-L. Anvil shaped. So now what is anvil is? Now when you go to the saw, that is you have seen you visited this where the wood is all cut. You have seen sawmill. So if you go to sawmill, you can see now the carpenter gives us a necessary measurement. So we go and give that measurement. Accordingly it is cut. So this wood is cut according to a measurement, and now they were using what? They were using axe for cutting. But nowadays what they have, you can see there will be a wooden table. At the edge of the table, they place this. It's made up of iron. It's an anvil. So it will be placed, it's having a jockey, it will be loosened. This wood, according to the measurement it will be kept, it will be tighter, and then they start cutting it. Alright. So that is a shape. That is why it's called anvil shape. Alright. Which is used in the saw mill, for where we are cutting wood, or we are cutting this into pieces or into a required measurements. So incus is a shape of an anvil. That is why it's called anvil shaped bone. Then you can see the third, that is called stapes. Alright. Stapes is a shape of a stirrup. S-T-I-R-R-U-P. Stirrup means now you sit on the horseback. You have seen, you all would have gone for horse riding. Now you sit on a horseback, small children. So what they do, they won't have body balance. So they may fall. So you have seen the legs will be put into an iron. They will have just one round shape, and this one will be the stirrup will be into which the children's legs will be put, so that they will have a body balance. So that is the shape of the stirrup. That is the stapes. That is why it's called stirrup shaped bone. Alright. So we have the hammer shaped bone, we have the anvil shaped bone, and we have the stirrup shaped bone. So they are called malleus, they are called incus, they are called stapes. So malleus, incus, stapes together you call them in a single word ear ossicles or ear bones. What are they called? Ear ossicles, or they are called the ear bones. Now these three are the together called ear ossicles. Now what happens is, now out of these three bones, a stapes bone is the smallest bone. And this is also the smallest bone in the human body. Which bone? Stapes. So out of these three bones, stapes is the smallest. In a human body also, stapes is the smallest bone. So stapes, S-T-A-P-E-S. This is the smallest bone in the human body too. So these are the three. Now the middle ear itself, we have another tube which is just coming out, that is called eustachian tube. So here E is silent, and here you should not pronounce it as eustachian tube. It's pronounced as eustachian tube. E is a silent letter. Alright. So E-U-S-T-A-C-H-I-A-N is pronounced as eustachian tube. Now this tube is in continuation with the middle ear. So it connects the middle ear to your pharynx. So here we have a connection, the middle ear and the pharynx. That connection is by the eustachian tube. Now what is the function of the eustachian tube? This is to maintain pressure on either side of the eardrum. Now when you are traveling long distance, now you are going in bus, you are going on a long distance. So what we usually do, we always prefer what? Window seat, isn't it? So we immediately go and get into the window seat and we sit comfortably. And then what happens? Your window is kept open. So this complete ear is getting this air entering in, and then when you reach your destination after 8 or 10 hours, you have reached your destination. When you just get down there, you feel that these ears are closed. That is because of the time taken for the eustachian tube to maintain the air pressure. Just after 2 or 3 minutes, it will automatically open. When you just get down in your destination, this opens. That means it is taking some time because complete air was entering in. So that is why it takes some time for the air pressure to be maintained in balance. So that is the function of this eustachian tube. And this also we have an experience when you go and take bath in the pond. Now when you go and take bath in pond, you can only close your nose. Ears and nose together you cannot close with your two hands. So what normally we'll do, we just let our ears open. We just close our nose and we dip in the water. When you just take bath, you see that this ear and this ear closes. So you just tilt your head to the side and just shake your head twice, this will open. Similarly on the other side also you tilt and shake 1 or twice, immediately that will also open because water has entered. So it takes some time to maintain the pressure balance. So that is the function of the eustachian tube, to maintain air pressure balance on either side of the eardrum. And we know this is the eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the pharynx. Alright, your middle ear is connected to your pharynx through a tube. What is that tube called? Eustachian tube. What is that tube called? Eustachian tube. So which are the two parts of the middle ear? The ear ossicles and the eustachian tube. Now which is the next section of the ear? It is the internal ear, or it's called the inner ear. So now this is the inner ear or the internal ear. Now it is having three semicircular canals. So you can see this is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. So it has got how many semicircular canals? 3 semicircular canals, out of which 2 are placed vertically. Alright, so this is also vertical, this is slantingly vertical, and this is what? It is horizontal. So out of 3, 2 are placed vertically and 1 is placed horizontally. 2 of them are vertical, 1 is just lying, that is called a horizontal level. So out of this 3 semicircular canals, we have 2 vertical and 1 horizontal. Now these 2 verticals get stimulated when you nod your head. So you're nodding your head like this. When you nod your head, it's your vertical semicircular canal getting stimulated. When you shake your head, you say no, you're shaking your head. It is your horizontal semicircular canal that is getting stimulated. So these are the 3 semicircular canals. 2 of them are vertically placed and 1 is horizontally placed. So these are the 3 semicircular canals. So the semicircular canals lead to a part that is called the vestibule. What is that part called? Vestibule. V-E-S-T-I-B-U-L-E. So this leads, a semicircular canal leads to the vestibule. At the end of the vestibule, you have a highly coiled, like a snail's shell you have seen. You see a highly coiled region that is called the cochlea. What is it called? Cochlea. C-O-C-H-L-E-A. It is the shape of a snail's shell. So these are the 3 parts of which ear? That is the internal ear. It is a semicircular canals, the vestibule as well as the cochlea. Now this inner ear is enclosed. Now when you touch it, you can feel there's a bony chamber. This bony chamber is called bony labyrinth. What is that called? It is a part of the skull which is a bony cavity. That cavity is called bony labyrinth. L-A-B-Y-R-I-N-T-H. Alright. Now inside the bony labyrinth, we have membranes. They are called membranous labyrinth. What are they called? Membranous labyrinth. So in this membrane, in between this membranous labyrinth, they are filled with a fluid that is called endolymph. What is the fluid? Endolymph. There's a endolymph is a fluid which is seen in between this membranous labyrinth. Now bony cavity, membranous labyrinth, there is a space that is filled with another fluid that is called perilymph. P-E-R-I-L-Y-M-P-H. So we have the endolymph as well as the perilymph, and the inner ear is kept in a bony cavity. That's a continuation of your skull that is called bony labyrinth. And this bony labyrinth internal has the membranous labyrinth. And inside the membranous labyrinth, there is a fluid called endolymph. And in between the bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth, there is a space which is filled with a fluid called perilymph. What is that fluid called? Perilymph. So which are the 2 fluids in the ears? It is the endolymph and the perilymph. Which are the 2 fluids in the eye? It is a vitreous humor and the aqueous humor. So these are the 2 fluids in the ear. Now this cochlea is just like a what? It is coiled like a snail's shell. So this is concerned with hearing. That is keeping you are able to hear. Semicircular canals and this vestibule together maintains a body balance. So that is why I told in the beginning, 2-fold functions. One is hearing, another is body balance. So hearing is under the concern of cochlea, semicircular canals and vestibule together maintains a balance of the body or the equilibrium. Now, there is a nerve that is arising from that is a vestibule. It's called vestibular nerve. What is that nerve called? Vestibular. V-E-S-T-I-B-U-L-A-R. It's called vestibular nerve. Now, this impulse from the vestibular nerve will go to cerebellum. Where will it go? It will go to cerebellum. Why it's going to cerebellum? Because cerebellum is responsible for maintaining body balance. Then from the cochlea, we have another set of nerve that's called auditory. A-U-D-I-T-O-R-Y. Auditory nerve. This goes to the cerebrum. So it goes to which part of the brain? It goes to cerebrum. Because cerebrum is having the hearing center. So it has to go to cerebrum. So this is what they asked in the examination. So don't confuse yourself. So the 3 semicircular canals and the vestibule. And from the vestibule, we have a nerve that is going to cerebellum. That is called vestibular nerve. It is going to cerebellum because semicircular canals and vestibule are responsible for body balance. Then we have this highly coiled part called the cochlea. Cochlea, from this, the impulse goes through the auditory nerve. It goes to cerebrum because cerebrum is a part of the brain which is having the hearing center. So these are the parts of the internal ear or the inner ear. So we have the outer ear, we have the middle ear, and we have the inner ear or the internal ear. Now the external ear is having pinna, auditory canal, eardrum. Then a middle ear is having ear ossicles, eustachian tube. Our inner ear is having 3 semicircular canals, vestibule and cochlea. The 2 nerves going, it's a vestibular nerve to cerebellum, body balance. Then cochlea, it is a auditory nerve going to cerebrum and it is concerned with hearing. So this is a external and the parts of the ear. External ear, then middle ear and the inner or the internal ear. And then the wax producing glands are called Sermunous glands. And your eardrum is placed slightly slanting. That is why it's called obliquely placed. So the next class, we'll see how we are able to hear and how we are able to maintain the body balance. So this figure, now if you put these 3 sections together, this is added, this is continuation that is the middle ear, here you have the internal ear. If these 3 are put together, that is a structure of a ear. Alright, so you have to draw the figure of the ear and then mark the important parts and then write its functions too. Alright, so today itself, after this class, you have to open your science notebook and then draw this figure and mark all the parts and also write its functions too. So if you do everything then and there, so what happens, it will be easy for you. You just have to glance only your notebook. So everything will be very clear. Alright. So that is why all these points have to be included in your notebook. Because Sermunous glands, we don't have that name. Eardrum is placed obliquely, it's not there in a text. Then the shape of the bones is not there in a text. So all these are extra information for you. So malleus, hammer shape, incus, angle shape, stapes, stirrup shape. Stapes is the smallest bone in the human body too. So that also you should not forget. And this is the structure of the ear. Alright. So 3 sections, external, middle and the internal ear. Now if you have any doubts, you can put a message or you can call me personally. So is it clear? If you have any doubts, you can then and there clarify. Don't carry doubts. You have any clarification, you just call me. Be free to call me. I'll just clarify all your doubts. Is it clear? Okay.